Hey there, thanks for stopping by. We're going to continue that series, but we're moving on to the legendaries today. We're going to focus on the judge parts, and let's just jump right in. So we're going to quickly go through the parts, then we'll look at the hall, see what this Incarnate looks like, and then we'll get into the gameplay. So the parts are, the mind part is Dissent, body part is Remand, and the soul part is Denial. Let's take a look at it in the hall. We're looking for that judge icon. The judge icon or portrait icon is this. We're looking for a gold border and all of the gold buttons for the judge. So right here, there's the gold border. There's the gold buttons for the judge. We also have a void affinity judge. We get that affinity by having 2 or more void parts on the Incarnate. We've got the void on Dissent, the void on Remand, and void on Denial. Simple math, 3 there is greater than 2. That means it's a void affinity Incarnate. Let's take a look at the judge itself. I think this is, for me, I love this model. I love this character. I love the way it looks. And, you know, this all white with gold trim just looks completely amazing. Blown away every time I look at this model. So there it is. We can get a little bit closer if you want, you know, just up and down. But yeah, take a look at that, guys. You know, that's pretty awesome. And just the detail on the book with all the lettering and stuff like that, and the scripture there. It's just freaking awesome. You got the heads on the side there for the shoulder pads. You've got the second head in the back. Just it just the level of detail and stuff is just freaking awesome here. So I really like the judge artwork here, and the background is really cool as well. You know, kind of in the clouds, floating on some item here. Maybe it's not really clouds. Maybe it's just a body of water. Not sure. There looks like trees out there. So, but still, in any case, it's really cool. Let's get into the gameplay now. All right, so we're going to start off by going through the body part called Remand. If we read the text, let's see what it does. Pull enemies in your presence, force +3. Force is a modifier that we don't really have access to right now. So right now it's just it's 0. It's set to 0, but at a later stage of the game, my understanding is that we'll actually have some ability to modify the push and pull mechanism here. So pull enemies in your presence 3 spaces, then attack adjacent enemies and push them 3 spaces. So there we go. That's what the text looks like in the game. So remember, anytime you pull something towards an Incarnate, it's not going to go 3 spaces if they end up adjacent to you. So they will stop when they become adjacent to you. Now, adjacent in this game is very literal. It could be it has to be one space away. So this space, this space, this space, or this space. Those spaces are all adjacent to this enemy Incarnate, or to my Incarnate. So what is it going to do? It's going to pull all the enemies in that presence. My presence is a value of 4. So you can see that it's highlighting 4 spaces away. So it's an AoE pull. And then once you pull them in, as long as they are adjacent to you, you will actually push them out 3 spaces. So what this should do is it should pull here, pull this enemy Incarnate here, and then it should push out 3 spaces out to here. So let's go ahead and use it and see what it does. There's the pull, and boom. See you later. Have a nice trip. That's there's your push mechanism. So that's pretty cool. You did see that there was some damage on the end there. Whenever you drop down spaces, you actually get damage done. So pushing an enemy Incarnate into a ravine like this, actually it's beneficial because A, they get lower, so they do less damage to Incarnates that are above them, but they also take fall damage. Same thing with running into obstacles. They'll take damage from running into those obstacles. So that's a really awesome ability. It's just a good crowd control ability to push things away, get them away from other Incarnates that might be low health that you want to heal and stuff like that. So really awesome ability and pretty good start to the legendary parts. All right, let's move on to the next one. All right, the next ability we're going to talk about is the mind part called Dissent. If we read it, lower enemies in your presence by 2. For 2 turns, gain aura 4, attack enemies that are lower than you at the end of your turn. So pretty straightforward. As long as there's an enemy inside this presence, again, the presence has got a stat of 4. They're going to be their space is going to be lowered by 2, and then once you end your turn, as long as they are also within an aura or a range of 4, they will also take damage as well. So we're going to go ahead and lower this person. They're going to be within that range of 4 or 4 spaces away from my casting Incarnate, and they'll take damage at the end of the turn. So we'll go ahead and use it, then we'll end our turn and see what that damage looks like. So there we go. We lowered the space by 2. The aura does show that they are within that aura, so we know it's going to affect them. Let's end our turn and see what the damage does. I'm going to go ahead and lock my screen or lock my camera, because sometimes it will rotate and it's not easy to see. All right, let's go ahead and end. So I just ended my turn. There's the damage that it does, and then there is the enemy Incarnate doing damage to me on their turn. All right, so now let's walk into the soul part. And I think this one's actually, it's pretty powerful for being a soul part, because it's got great crowd control on a 1-turn cooldown. So let's read it. It's called Denial. Attack all enemies in range and apply root for 2 turns. Then attack enemies that are above you again. They are lowered by 1 space. So it's got a couple things going on. First, again, remember, if it's got that orange attack text there, it means that you have to be facing the direction that you want to attack. The attack is going to be based on your range stat, which in this case is 4. So you can see that 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces here are highlighted. So that's working great. You see the yellow space, it's got cover on there because of the line of sight issue. So why don't we go ahead and move just 1 space forward. Now we no longer have that line of sight issue. So now we turn red, we're going to get full damage. Root, we'll go ahead and look at what that does once we apply it. And then if I were below this enemy Incarnate, it would actually reduce their space or lower their space by 1 and also attack them again. So I will go ahead and use this once, and then I'll get below another Incarnate, and we'll see what it does for the secondary attack. Let's use this first. There we go. So attack all enemies in range. Again, that's an AoE ability, but it's very specific. You have to be looking forward, and it has to be within that front range of the casting Incarnate. Let's take a look at the debuff. So make sure it applies correctly. It applied for 2 turns. The text does say 2 turns, so that works out well. Root is you have 50% less defense and you are immobilized. Immobilized means that they can't move, obviously. So they won't be able to move off that space. It's not like a blind where their range is reduced to 0, but their move ability or move stat is effectively brought down to 0. Okay, so let's go ahead and try to get in place of seeing that skill work when we are attacking from below. So we'll end there. So what you just saw was the Dissent. They were still within the aura, so I attacked at the end of the turn, so they're now dead. I'm going to go ahead and move to a location that is below. Here we go. And we'll see if we actually have line of sight on this. Well, it may not have line of sight. Oh, we do. Okay. So again, we're going to attack anything in range there. And then we're going to lower that space and attack again. So let's see if that work. So here we go. There we go. So you saw the attack, you saw the root defense down, you saw the space being lowered by 1, and then you saw that secondary attack. So that's working perfectly. Now if I had my move ability, I could run away if I wanted to and stuff like that, and they wouldn't be able to chase me. So again, I think that's going to be a really, really, really powerful soul part. The fact that you're going to have a 1-turn root and be able to keep things in place is, I think that's going to be pretty insane. I probably plan on using that one in my builds, at least a couple of them for good crowd control build. So I'm excited to use that one in the future. All right, so we just went through all the legendary parts of the judge, and these legendary parts are just, some of them are pretty insane. I look forward to going through the rest of them throughout this series. I think you're all going to enjoy them. I love the judge class in general. I like to play more of a crowd control type class when I'm playing RPGs and stuff like that. So it fits my play style perfectly. I hope it was informative. If it was and you liked it, feel free to toss a like. If you like the content, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. If you've got a comment about which one of these abilities you think are going to be powerful or maybe too powerful in some of these cases, drop it below and we'll talk about it. As always, I appreciate you guys watching, and we'll see you in the next one.